Everybody, Nick here, and today I'd like to announce a new segment, so to speak, for the channel, and that's just called Ask Nick. Every so often I get a really good question on the Instagram or on YouTube comments that really merits a little bit more discussion than just a quick little comment. And so I'm just going to write those down, and then every so often, when I get enough of them to merit a video, throw up a new video called Ask Nick. If you don't really give a damn about other people's questions, go ahead and skip these, but otherwise, yeah. Check them out. So you can ask questions on the YouTube comment to this video or any other video for that matter. You can also ask on the Instagram, any of my posts there, and you can also shoot me an email. If you go to my YouTube profile page up in the corner there, you'll see a link to my email, and that'll get you there. But yeah, so let's go on ahead and just jump on into the viewer questions. Okay, first question from Mohawk KJK number 2. Nick, what's your favorite production flipper? Good question. So my favorite flipper in general is the Grimsmo Norseman here, but this is not production by any stretch of the imagination. It's a custom knife. Each one is made of its own, and they're numbered and everything. So this probably doesn't count, but it's definitely my favorite flipper in terms of action, just in general. Second place would be this little guy, the Shirogorov Neon Light. I've got a full review up, and it's an incredible knife. The flipping action is just stellar, as is the closing action. This is one of my favorite knives to carry, period. Great knife. Whether it's production or not, people will argue. It's entirely CNC made. There are many of them that look just like this, but they are finished in a custom shop. So this probably doesn't count, but it's up there, and they're also hard to find. But anyways, that's up there. In terms of straightforwardly production knives, the very best production flippers are coming out of ZT lately. In terms of action, my favorite flipper is the ZT 452CF in production. Because the action on the flipper is great and the action on the closing is great. This is a knife that is way above its pay grade in terms of action. It falls shut, it's so damn smooth. And, you know, it's just a really nicely designed knife overall. So if we're just talking action, this guy wins by a mile in terms of production knives. That said, it's a little bit crazy, it's a little bit big, it's a little murdery, and so I don't carry it that often. So in terms of a knife that I would like to carry on a regular basis, production flipper, that'd be this guy here, the ZT 0562CF. It's a very good flipper. It's not as smooth as the 452. It's not quite as satisfying as a flipper, but oh man, is this a nice knife. And it's a great, just hard use sort of knife, and it's just a stellar flipper. So as a complete package, this guy wins the day. But as a just looking for the very best flipper, this is probably the best production flipper available these days. The 450 by ZT is another really good option if you're looking for a great flipper. So, great question, Mohawk. Thank you. Let's move on. Okay, so next up, my viewer on Instagram, Campbell EDC, asks, "Hey Nick, where do you store your EDC gear overnight?" And so, let me show you. This right here is my bed. And on the bedside table here, I keep a couple of things. I've got my watches over here. As you can see, I'm wearing a crappy little watch for review, but that's okay. But I keep my watches over here. And here's the Oceanus, the ProTrek, and the Sin. I keep my kind of pocket gear right in here. So my keys, earphones, Lactaid, chapstick, oh god, the chapstick, and my phone. And overnight I've got a charging cable that I just plug the phone right on into. So that way I'm always freshly charged in the morning. And right below that, in a drawer, with some custom cut Kaizen foam, lives the permanent knife collection, as well as some pens. So you can see here I got the Razel, I got the Neon, Delica. The Sleesh Bowie is currently on loan to my buddy Jim. Should be getting that back soon. The Tylock lives right here. This is the Rat 1 in D2 steel, which is a great knife. It's earned its way in here, which is impressive. Your 452CF. Over here we have the... oh, come on now, the D25A flashlight. So I'll throw that in my pocket. We've got the Opinel 0006 with tactical black blade, as well as the Leatherman Squirt. Squirt. Wait a second. Z Hunter, how did you get in here? You don't belong there. Little bastard. You got Grimsmo Norseman, and then over here I've got pens. So I've got the Prometheus Wrights Alpha in titanium and nickel. I've got the Parker Jada and my Hinderer in bronze over there. So, yeah, every morning it's just a question of popping open this drawer and figuring out exactly what it is that I want to carry for the day. So, Campbell EDC, I hope that's... Oh, and the foam, by the way, is just Kaizen foam that I cut myself. So, there you go. I hope that was interesting to you, Campbell. Let's get back to the rest of the videos. So Life Through Glass asks, Nick, at this point in time, if you were forced to pick one knife for EDC from your collection, what would it be? Great question there, Life Through Glass. Couple of good options. The Greensmell Norseman is my favorite knife, but I don't think it wins this round. And the reason for that is that the Norseman is... it's art, and it's a beautiful mechanical object, and it's something I love a very, very lot. But it's not the perfect EDC knife for any situation. It's not as good of an all-arounder as some. And so, although it would sadden me to never be able to carry the Norseman again, it's not the choice here. Another good choice would be the Spyderco Delica. This is a knife I've said repeatedly is the very best production EDC knife out there, and this is a really, really good option. And I have carried it only for trips and things like that. And, there's a lot to love here, and as an all-arounder, it's stellar. But the thing is, the blade steel VG10 is not what I would like every day of the rest of my life. And similarly, the fit and finish is good, but it's not incredible. As a mechanical device, I'm not as in love as with some other things. So I wouldn't choose the Delica as my one and only EDC for those reasons. I think my choice at this point would actually be this little guy here, the Shirogorov Neon Light. My reason for saying that is that this is just a knife that I have grown to love, love, love carrying for a couple of reasons. First, it's small, it's lightweight, it's not that big, so it's not that scary to the rest of the world. It's an incredible slicer with the blade geometry and the relatively thin blade here. The steel M390 is great. And honestly, just as a mechanical piece of art, the action on this is just so incredible. So I think if I had to pick one knife from my collection that was the only knife I could ever EDC again, provided I could get some new ones if it comes up, I'd go Neon Light here. This is just a really, really stellar little knife. Yeah, so there you go. Good question, Life Through Glass. Okay, Vangfia asks, how many times have you charged your credit card to buy high-end knives, knowing you shouldn't, but you really want the knife, and you did it anyways behind your partner's back? So there are a couple of parts to that I'll hit on. I know the feeling of, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna do it. And that's actually what got me these two guys here. The Norseman was very much a, been looking at this, I've been, damn it, I'm just gonna do it. And I just did it. And similarly with the Neon, you know what, okay, damn it, I'm just gonna do it. And, in these cases it worked out, but it's also not worked out for me in the past. The Chris Reeve and Cosi was another situation where it's like, I lost a little tiny bit of my shirt in doing that. That was no good. What else? I've taken some other baths on that kind of sensation, so I know the temptation. Oh God, do I know the temptation. I will occasionally succumb. But, yeah. Two other issues, though, in there. First off, charge your credit card to knowing you shouldn't. I was taught, and I don't want to go financial counselor here, but if you pay off your credit cards at the end of the month, there's no problem there. But a pocket knife is a really crappy thing to go into debt for, because, if you buy a $600 pocket knife on credit and you end up paying $1,200 for it over the course of the next 8 years in terms of interest, that's a really crappy deal. And so, I really encourage you. There are so many wonderful, wonderful inexpensive pocket knives that are just as damn good in most of the ways, that are 90% as excellent. You don't need to go into debt for something like this. Be very careful going down that road. That leads to some real ugly, and some companies that really want you trapped in that ugly. The other thing is the behind your partner's back thing. Everybody's got a different dynamic. I'm really lucky in that my fiance doesn't quite understand what it is that I do and why I buy $600 pocket knives, although she can appreciate them. But she kind of lets me be. We maintain some financial independence in that kind of thing, and she has her own vices. And I love supporting her vices as well. So, be careful. Again, a Shirogorov Neon is an incredible knife, but it's not worth a broken marriage. Just saying. Yeah, but great question, and oh God, do I know the feeling of just that impulse, you know what, damn it, screw it, purchase. So, there you go. Okay, Toad Sticker, or Toad Striker, or Toad something or another, on the Instagram asks, Nick, when will we see some fixed blade reviews? And that's a good question there, Toadie, but unfortunately you're probably not going to see too many of them, and that's for a couple of reasons. Outside of the kitchen, I own exactly 3 fixed blade knives. I've got my EC Laser Strike here, which is kind of my beater knife, and honestly this gets most of its use separating hamburger patties that have frozen together. Silly, but it does the trick. I've got this guy, which is the Cricut Razel SS7 knife, which I got a really good deal on, and it's ridiculous, and I can't really bear to, sell it along, so it lives with me. And then I got a Mora knife in my car for emergency purposes. So, that's really the fixed blades in my life. I've owned small fixed blade knives that are meant for EDC, but every time I try and carry them, it doesn't quite make sense for me. I've tried the EC Azula, I tried the stubby ringed Razel from John Graham. I tried the great little custom spear point from John Graham. But, it doesn't really make sense. I'm not a hard use sort of guy, and I would much rather carry a compact folding knife than a much bigger fixed blade knife in a sheath or something like that. And also, I'll say as a reviewer, fixed blades aren't quite as interesting. With a folding blade, not only do you get to talk about things like ergonomics and steel and blade shape, but you get to talk about the action, you get to talk about the carryability in the pocket. When you're reviewing a fixed blade, really you've got the ergonomics, you've got, handle materials, kind of fit and finish, although it's not usually as meaningful there. Blade geometry, but that's kind of about it. And so fixed blades just aren't that interesting to me as a reviewer. So you're probably not going to see a whole lot more fixed blade review from me in the future. I might talk a little bit about what I got in my kitchen. I got a nice set of some Northwoods knives, Henkels, and some Victorinox, but kind of pastiche there, mix and match. But yeah, you're probably not going to see a whole lot more of that. There are some fixed blades I'd love to see and to check out, but on the whole, I tend to stick to folders in my everyday life, and so that's what I review. Great question, though. Then finally, my buddy Old Medic, who always is commenting on my videos and on the Instagram, seems like a great guy, says, so Nick, if you've got the answers to life, please forward them over here. So I'm going to do my best. And of course, I'm still working on my answers to life. What the heck do I know? But as far as I can tell, there are 2 main purposes in life. The first is to be kind to fuzzy creatures. If you see a squirrel or a prairie dog or a duckling or a marmot or any other kind of monkey, I don't know where you live, but still, if you see a fuzzy creature, say hello, be kind to it. That'll keep you happy, and it'll keep you from becoming an embittered husk of a human being. If you get to the point where you can look at a duckling without smiling, what the heck are you doing? Really? Come on. Second big point to life, in my mind, is the relentless pursuit of gems. And I do not mean this in the literal sense. You do not need to hoard diamonds, although, hey, if that's your thing, whatever. I mean gems in the abstract sense. Look for the gems in life, whether those are people, whether those are products, whether those are, things that you're creating. Create gems. Make gem-like software, make gem-like hardware, make a house that is a gem if you are a carpenter, and try and find them everywhere, because think of how hard it is to pull the gems out of the earth. As a miner, we go underground, in freaking Alaska with the ice road truckers. We go to the ends of the earth to find gems in the ground. We should be looking out for them in the rest of our lives too, because they are out there if you're looking hard enough. So, as near as I can tell, that's the meaning of life. I'm probably going to revise that, maybe check back in like 40 years, and I'll have something better for you. But for the moment, sorry, Old Medic, that's all I can offer you. I hope this has been interesting, and if you got other questions for the Nick, ideally about things that are not the meaning of life, that I can actually answer with a little bit more authority, go on ahead and throw them in the comments here, or go on the Instagram and ask them there anytime. I'm really happy to do this, and these will come out as often as, enough questions come out. Don't feel insulted if I don't get around to yours quickly. But, yeah, hope this has been interesting, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day. Go out and find them gems, okay?